You ever notice how everyone's chasing $1 million these days? Like the world suddenly decided that unless you've got 7 figures sitting pretty in your account, you're somehow losing at life. They've got you believing the dream is $1 million, maybe 2, maybe 10. But here's the truth. We've been programmed since childhood to believe that wealth means excess. Big houses, bigger cars, and the biggest number you can fit on your bank statement. Every commercial, every influencer, every financial expert tells you the same thing. Get more, buy more, want more. But that's not wealth. That's dependency disguised as success. Real wealth, the kind that actually matters, isn't about stacking dollars. It's about owning your time, your peace, your choices. When you wake up in the morning and the first thing on your mind isn't survival, but creation, that's wealth. When you can choose how you spend your day without checking your balance or begging for permission, that's wealth. It's the ability to live life on your terms, not the system's terms. The system doesn't teach you that, because if everyone understood it, the economy would collapse overnight. They need you to believe that a millionaire lifestyle is the only mark of success. Because the moment you stop chasing, the moment you realize that enough is actually possible, their control starts to slip. They want you buying into a fantasy, the kind that keeps you tired, indebted, and desperate. You're not free when you have money. You're free when you no longer have to think about it every second of your life. That's the shift no one talks about. The difference between financial comfort and financial control. Between existing and actually living. Think about it. How many people have millions and still feel broke inside? They've got the penthouse, the car collection, the fake smiles on social media. But deep down, they're still in a cage. The walls are just made of marble now. That's because wealth measured only in money is a shallow kind of victory. You can have all the luxury in the world, but if your mind is restless and your schedule belongs to someone else, you're not rich, you're just expensive. True wealth begins when your time belongs fully to you, when you no longer have to trade your hours for survival, when your energy goes where you decide, not where it's demanded. It's funny, we glorify people who grind 24/7, who never stop working, who hustle harder. We've turned exhaustion into a badge of honor. But what's the point of running if you don't even know where you're going? People confuse motion with progress, activity with purpose. And the cruel joke is, the more they run, the more the finish line keeps moving. The wealthy figured this out a long time ago. They don't work for money. They make money work for them. Because money, when you understand it, is just a tool. It's not supposed to own you. It's supposed to serve you. $500,000 might sound small compared to the dreams they sell you, but it's more than enough if you actually understand how to live. If you build your life with intention, not competition. If you design your expenses around freedom, not status. Most people don't need millions. They just need to stop wasting what they already have trying to look rich. It's not about cutting back. It's about cutting loose. Shedding the layers of consumerism that have buried your sense of what's truly valuable. When you stop chasing other people's definitions of success, you start finding your own. Redefining wealth means taking back the meaning of enough. It's realizing that enough isn't weakness. It's wisdom. Because when you have enough, you stop being a slave to the future. You stop fearing tomorrow. You start making choices from clarity, not desperation. Imagine what that feels like. To make decisions not because you have to, but because you want to. To wake up and know that your time is yours. That's what real wealth is. The absence of financial anxiety, not the accumulation of digits. The world has tricked people into believing wealth is about competition. That you've got to beat someone, impress someone, prove something. But that's a lie built to keep you insecure. Because insecurity sells, confidence doesn't. The entire structure of modern marketing thrives on making you feel inadequate. Buy this and you'll be happy. Invest in that and you'll be respected. They keep you buying, so you keep working, so they keep winning. And all along, your real wealth, your time, your peace, your relationships quietly slips away. The truth is, wealth is not measured in assets. It's measured in alignment. Do your days align with your values? Does your money support your life, or does your life serve your money? That's the difference between living rich and living real. The person with $500,000 in peace of mind is wealthier than the millionaire still trying to prove something. Because peace is the one currency that can't be bought, only earned through understanding. And once you grasp that, every decision changes. You stop asking, how much can I make? And start asking, how much do I need to live the life I actually want? That's when you realize that redefining wealth isn't about changing your bank account. It's about changing your mindset. It's about understanding that you don't need infinite resources. You just need finite desires. The less you want, the freer you become. Because when you need less, you can live more. You can finally breathe, finally see, finally exist outside the grind. The true measure of wealth is not the number in your account, but the number of mornings you wake up without anxiety, the number of nights you sleep without worry, the number of hours you spend doing what truly matters. That's wealth. Not flashy, not loud, not fake, but quietly powerful, deeply satisfying, and fully yours. The greatest trick society ever pulled was convincing people that more is always better. It's a lie so deep, so perfectly designed, that most people spend their entire lives chasing it and never realize it was never theirs to begin with. You start young, watching the world tell you that happiness has a price tag. Every commercial, every billboard, every scrolling ad on your phone whispers the same thing. You're not enough yet. But you could be if you just buy this, earn that, upgrade here. They sell dreams in monthly installments and call it progress. They convince you that success is a number that keeps changing the closer you get to it. That's the trap of endless more. A finish line that never stays still. A hunger that never fills. A race that never ends. It's not an accident, it's a design. Because the moment you stop chasing, you start thinking. And a thinking, peaceful human being is dangerous to a system built on consumption. They don't want you to have enough. Enough doesn't sell. Enough doesn't fuel debt. Enough doesn't keep you scrolling and buying and comparing. They need you restless, needing, wanting. They need your dissatisfaction to keep their machine running. So they build a culture that glorifies overwork and celebrates exhaustion. They tell you to grind, hustle, push harder, climb faster, all for a version of success that only exists on screens. They sell you the idea that happiness is just one paycheck away, and by the time you realize the paycheck came and went, they've already sold you the next dream. People spend their whole lives trying to fill the emptiness that marketing created. They buy things to feel important, follow trends to feel included, and chase validation to feel alive. But no amount of more can fix a void that was planted there on purpose. The more you feed it, the hungrier it gets. You see people with closets full of clothes and souls running on empty. They've got the latest phones but can't look each other in the eye. They've got big houses but no peace inside them. That's not living. That's performing. And the scariest part? Most don't even know they're in the show. The trap of endless more isn't just about money. It's about identity. They've made you believe that who you are is measured by what you own, that your worth is tied to your net worth. So you spend your years collecting things, titles, and opinions that were never meant to define you. You keep moving the goalpost. First it's a job, then a house, then a better car, then retirement. Every time you think you're close to making it, the world changes the rules. Because if you ever truly arrive, they lose you. They lose your attention, your labor, your fear, and the system cannot afford for you to be content. Contentment doesn't make the news. It doesn't trend. It doesn't sell courses or subscriptions. That's why they teach you ambition, but never fulfillment. They tell you to dream bigger, but never smaller, never simpler, never truer. They make you believe that peace is laziness, that stillness is failure. But what if the goal was never to have everything, but to need less of it? What if freedom isn't found in addition, but subtraction? The more you add, the heavier you become. The more you chase, the further you drift from yourself. People think they're climbing a ladder, but most of them are just spinning in circles, faster and faster, hoping the blur looks like progress. It's a dangerous illusion because it rewards pain. Society worships the struggle, but never questions the destination. You'll hear people brag about working 80 hours a week. about having no days off, about sleeping 4 hours a night, and they say it with pride as if burning yourself out is proof that you're alive. But what are you really chasing? More money, more stuff, more recognition, and what happens when you get it? You adapt, you get used to it. The rush fades and you start craving the next more. That's how the trap resets itself. A treadmill built so smooth, you don't realize you're not moving. There's nothing wrong with ambition. What's wrong is the emptiness it's been attached to. True ambition should be about growth, contribution, meaning not about accumulation. But they've hijacked ambition and turned it into greed. You're not told to build a better life, you're told to build a bigger one. Bigger homes, bigger egos, bigger debts. And while you're chasing big, they quietly take the small things away. Your time, your joy, your connection with others. You lose your weekends to work, your evenings to screens, your dreams to distractions. The system doesn't steal from you all at once. It takes in little pieces, disguised as opportunities. The irony is, the people who have more are often the ones trapped the deepest. They've built golden cages and called them empires. They've surrounded themselves with everything except meaning. They've achieved everything except peace. Because you can't buy silence. You can't buy stillness. You can't buy the ability to breathe without worry. The truth that no one wants to say out loud is this. Most people don't want more money. They want what they think money will bring them. Freedom, security, love, respect. But those things don't come from a paycheck. They come from perspective. And perspective only arrives when you stop running the trap of endless more thrives on comparison. It feeds on envy. It wants you looking sideways, not inward. As long as you're measuring your worth against someone else's highlight reel, you'll never feel complete. That's the point. They need you unsatisfied, because satisfaction is bad for business. The day you realize that more isn't the answer is the day you become untouchable. The ads lose power. The noise fades. You start to see that the real luxury is peace of mind, the real success is contentment, and the real rebellion is to stop wanting everything they told you to want. People think simplicity is poverty because they've been taught that more equals better. But simplicity isn't about having less, it's about needing less. It's not the absence of comfort, it's a presence of clarity. You don't simplify your life because you can't afford abundance. You simplify it because you're tired of being buried by it. The world sells chaos as achievement, clutter as success, and busyness as importance. But behind all that noise, there's a quiet truth. Freedom begins when you stop measuring your worth by how much you own and start measuring it by how little you need. The power of simplicity lies in its ability to expose what's real. When you strip away the unnecessary, you begin to see what actually matters. People think minimalism is about white walls and empty rooms, but it's not. It's about removing distractions, mental, emotional, and financial, so you can finally focus on what gives life meaning. Most people aren't living, they're just managing. Managing debt, managing schedules, managing stress. They call it adulting, but it's really just survival. Simplicity pulls you out of survival mode and puts you back into living mode. It reminds you that you don't have to own everything to experience everything. The system thrives on complication. They make simple things feel impossible, so you'll need help. Their kind of help. You can't just eat, you need diets, apps, supplements, and subscriptions. You can't just relax. You need retreats, therapies, and gadgets that monitor how relaxed you are. They've monetized peace. And as long as peace has a price tag, you'll never have it. The irony is the simplest things in life are free. Time, attention, health, relationships, silence. But those don't generate profit, so the world distracts you from them. It convinces you that happiness is hidden inside products when it's been inside you all along. Simplicity isn't glamorous. And that's why most people ignore it. There's no applause for downsizing, no social media badge for saying, I have enough. We celebrate excess because it photographs well. But simplicity doesn't need validation. It needs understanding. It's about recognizing that every extra thing you own, every unnecessary commitment you make, every comparison you chase, takes a small piece of your freedom. You think you own your possessions, but the truth is they often own you. You spend your life working to maintain them, protect them, replace them. You trade your time, the one thing you can never get back, for things that lose value the second you buy them. There's real power in choosing less. Because when you choose less, you choose purpose. You start living intentionally, not reactively. Most people's lives are built on reaction, reacting to bills, to trends, to expectations. They wake up every day running, but they don't know who set the race. Simplicity steps in and says, stop, ask why. Why am I doing this? Why do I need this? Why am I still chasing what doesn't make me happy? It's not an easy conversation because simplicity forces honesty. It shows you what's been controlling you, what's been distracting you, what's been keeping you from peace. And once you see it, you can't unsee it. The greatest form of wealth isn't accumulation, it's liberation. The freedom to live with clarity, without noise, without the burden of unnecessary wants. You don't need to reject money to live simply. You just need to stop worshiping it. Money is a tool, not a purpose. When used wisely, it can buy you time, options, and experiences. But when misused, it buys you clutter disguised as comfort. Simplicity doesn't mean you live small. It means you live smart. It's about designing a life that fits you, not one that impresses strangers. It's about quality over quantity. Fewer things, but better things. Fewer people, but deeper connections. Fewer goals, but greater meaning. You start to notice how heavy modern life is. How every new app, commitment, and possession adds a little weight. We call it progress, but sometimes it's just distraction dressed as advancement. You can't think clearly when you're surrounded by noise. You can't feel joy when your attention is scattered in 100 directions. Simplicity is the art of reclaiming focus. It's turning down the volume on everything that doesn't matter so you can finally hear your own thoughts again. That's why people who live simply often look calm. They've stopped trying to keep up with a race that doesn't lead anywhere. Simplicity isn't about deprivation. It's about refinement. You're not giving up life's pleasures, you're filtering out the meaningless ones. You learn to find joy in ordinary things. A quiet morning, a good meal, a deep conversation, a walk in silence. Those moments don't cost much, but they give everything. The problem is, people have been taught that happiness must be earned through consumption. That if it's not expensive, it's not special. But real joy doesn't ask for proof. It's not loud or flashy. It's subtle, steady, and lasting. The kind of happiness that doesn't disappear when the novelty fades. When you start embracing simplicity, something unexpected happens. Gratitude grows. You stop focusing on what's missing and start appreciating what's present. You realize how little you actually need to feel fulfilled. Gratitude becomes your wealth. Contentment becomes your currency. And suddenly the pressure to compete, to upgrade, to impress begins to dissolve. You start living from sufficiency instead of scarcity. You no longer need to prove your worth through possessions because your peace speaks louder than any display of success. The power of simplicity is that it reconnects you with yourself. It teaches you that happiness isn't out there somewhere waiting to be bought. It's right here, waiting to be noticed. It reminds you that the most valuable things in life can't be taken, sold, or replaced. They're already yours. Your time, your freedom, your attention. When you simplify your life, you start experiencing it again. You slow down enough to feel, to breathe, to be. And in a world that's always shouting more, choosing simplicity becomes the most radical act of all. Most people spend their whole lives working for money that never truly works for them. They earn it, they spend it, they lose it, and then they start over again. A never-ending cycle disguised as progress.